It's recording now.
Yes, thank you. So, vital signs. Now, here you are. Now, you have vital sign. First of all, you have cohesive device. Now, I'll need you to, for example, I may not have them written down. Okay. Because more often than not, when I do online class, I use WhatsApp that help me to, especially Google Meet, with subtitle what I'm saying. I've not been able to get a hang of this to bring in subtitles. So just try to listen and try as much as possible to get your notes down. So for cohesive device, I'm going to explain it in a layman's way. Cohesive device shows relationship between words, shows relation between sentences, words, sentences, and paragraphs. So words, sentences, and paragraphs. You must be able to use cohesive device sufficiently in your writing, and you must be able to note them or be able to identify them when they are used in your reading or your listening. And you must be able to use them in your writing. You must be able to use them in your speaking. It is very important for you to know how to use cohesive device. And there are several types of cohesive devices. You have the one that add additional subcategories of cohesive device, the one that had additional information. So you could have words like moreover, in addition, additionally. I hope you are making notes, please. We don't have much time, so we need to make notes, or better still, if you can record from your end so that you can listen over again and make notes here from afterwards, that'll be fine. But you have words like additionally, moreover, in addition, at the same time, similarly, all right? So that's the subcategory where you had more information. There's a subcategory that is contrast, that shows contrast, okay? The subcategory that shows contrast, you have words like whereas, while, although, even though, despite, in spite. And the word in spite is two words, in space spite. So don't write it together. If you write it together, that will be wrong, right? So in spite, despite, although, however, even though, and the host of other things like that. That's another subcategory of cohesive device. Another subcategory of cohesive device, which is the ones that contrasts with an existing, what's it called now? Information. That is to say, your information, you give an information that is seemed to be positive, but now you are going another information that is now going negative. So it's contrasting. It's, or better still, one is going this route, another one is going this route. So they call it detours sometimes. D-E-T-O-U-R, detours. They bring about detours. For example, you can say, for example, you have the cohesive device, although it works with the government, is not so popular. So although it works with the government, is not so popular. So we are talking about the fact that, despite the fact that this person works with the government, is not so popular. People don't know him. So that means popularity. Working for the government should naturally bring in popularity, but it doesn't have that popularity. So we are saying some cohesive device, some subcategories bring about detours. All right, I hope you understand that. Then moving on, we have subcategories that shows emphasis. That is when you have words like especially, in particular, particularly, also, or in fact. I hope you understand. I'll take that again. In particular, particularly, especially, in fact, and also. So you have those ones that shows, what's it called now? Emphasis. They show emphasis. Now you have also cohesive devices that show reason and consequence. Reason and consequence. Reason and consequence. Reason and consequence. Now, these ones are the ones that show like words like what's it called now? Because of this, due to this. Put your microphone on mute. That time is just coming to the class, and please put your speaker on mute, please. So, owing to, despite, no, I'm mixing it up. Let's start again. It shows, we're talking about the ones that show reason and consequence. Thank you. Reason and consequences. So you are saying due to this, or due to, owing to this, or owing to, because of this, as a result, and a host of them like that. So there are so many. Now, these are the few subcategories that I've been able to highlight. There are several of them like that that you need to, work on, learn in the course of your sorry. Now, first of all, one of us is experiencing serious network issues. I hope you can all understand and hear me. If you can hear me, please, could you please raise your hand if you can hear me? Okay. Okay, if you can hear me. Thank you, Vivian. I can see your hand. Okay. Okay, Mr. John, can you hear me? Miss Kefi, can you hear me? Mikhail, can you hear me? What about Prince? Prince, are you back now? Okay. All right, now, so let's move on. So we're saying the ones that show reason and consequences as a result, owing to, due to this. Okay, thank you. And a host of them like that. So all these question devices are meant for usage in your writing and your speaking. And then you should be able to note them, identify them, be able to identify them when they are being used in listening and reading, especially reading. All right. So let's moving on to another place. Now, typically, subordinate clauses. The second one is subordinate clause. Subordinate clauses helps you to write a good essay. Okay, subordinate clauses helps you to write good essay. Now let's look at a typical subordinate clause. Now, subordinate clauses are usually formed when you have two simple sentences or two sentences, they coming together. But I'm going to be using, let's have this kind of question, send these two sentences. We have, let's have he is from a rich family. That's sentence one. Sentence one is from a rich family. Then sentence two. Then he lives like a pauper. So two sentences. He is from a rich family, he lives like a pauper. Now let's see how these can form into subordinate clause. Now, all the things, virtually all the things that we have mentioned in coercive device can help us to write subordinate clauses. All the things that we have talked about in coercive device can help us to write good subordinate clauses. So now let's see these subordinate clauses. How do we write subordinate clause? Okay, subordinate clause. So we match the two together. You find out that the two essays, yes, okay, Mr. Ezekiel, I think your hand is up. Did you raise your hand for the fact that you are listening to me or you have a question? You can unmute now so that you can respond. Yes.
Listening. I'm listening.
I can't hear you, sir.
Listening, sir. I'm listening. Okay.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. So hello.
Yeah, hello. Couldn't hear you before. It's
Okay.
like you were muted.
Can you hear what I'm saying now?
Yes, it's clear now.
Yes, clearly. Yes, yes.
Okay. So let me see whether. Okay. Just hold on a bit for me. Please hold on. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, clearly.
Okay. Good. So we're moving on. So we're saying to write your subordinate clause, you find out that these two sentences that we have here are typically not positive. They are not positive. They don't. The first one is a positive. The second one is a negative, so to speak. So in that case, we'll be using contrast. We use a detour. So let's say we want to use although now. Although, comma, he is from a rich family, comma, he is like a pauper. So now we have a subordinate. Now, subordinate clause is expected in your writing. The more of this you are going is expected in your writing, the more of this you are able to use, the better you are. Your rating is going to be higher in terms of your reading. So we can use some other what's it called now? Despite, for example, despite being from a rich family, he lives like a pauper. That's another one. Okay, so that's another what's it called? Despite being from a rich family, he lives like a pauper. That's another subordinate clauses. Subordinate clauses are very, very necessary. They want, now, let me say this. I am not teaching you typically English language. By writing all of these things out, I'm not teaching you typical English language. I'm teaching you IELTS. I actually studied a material called, what's it called now? Band descriptors. Yeah, I'm going to open it for you. I'm going to show you band descriptors. Band descriptors from the IELTS that they have shown, they have told us that that is what they use to mark us. Okay, they mark us with band descriptors, and that is what I'm going to show you now. So IELTS writing band descriptors. Okay. Yeah. So we have task 2, band descriptors. So, so I'm teaching you IELTS. Now, if you can see clearly, you see task achievement, coherence and cohesion, lexical resources, and grammatical accuracy. Okay, I hope you can see that. All right. Now you find out that if you read through, they'll say fully address all parts of the task, present a fully developed position in answer to your question with relevant, fully extended, and well-supported ideas. That's for band 9. Use cohesion. Cohesion. And one of the ways you use cohesion is using cohesive devices, which we talked about earlier. The first thing we talked about, you can see is the number one thing that we can relate with. Cohesion, you use cohesive device. All those types of cohesive device must be expressed, used extensively in your write-up. Without that, your writing cannot fly, whether you like it or not. Okay. If you look at that second column, let's scroll through. Scroll through now. It says uses cohesion in such a way that it attracts no attention. Band 8, sequences information and ideas logically, manages all aspects of cohesion. You see cohesive device again. Logically organizes information and ideas. There is a clear progression throughout. Uses a range of cohesive device. A range of cohesive device. So we're not talking about using although, but you use although, interchange it at another time with therefore, interchange it at another time with however, what's it called now? Although, even though, interchange it another time with however, interchange it another time with nevertheless, interchange it another time with nonetheless. So a wide range. Okay, so let's still read through. You find out that all about your coherence and cohesion is your cohesive device. So you see under band 8, uses cohesive devices effectively, but cohesion within and or between sentences may be faulty or mechanical. That is why you must try as much as possible to study your cohesive devices very well, that you know how to use them very well. So let's move on. We have been able to, so I'm not teaching you typical English language. I'm teaching you what will help you to ace your IELTS. Now, let's move on back to lexical resources. Wide range of vocabulary with natural and sophisticated control. That's for band 9. For band 9, you have lexical resources, uses a wide range of vocabulary with very natural and sophisticated control of lexical features. Rare minor or errors occurs only as slips. Okay, it talks about vocabulary here too. Fluently and flexibly to convey precise meanings, skillfully using uncommon lexical items. Uncommon lexical item, we are going to come to vocabulary later on. Uncommon lexical item, underline that. But there may be occasional inaccuracies in words. That's for band 8. Okay, now let's move on. Band 7 says uses a sufficient range of vocabulary to allow some flexibility and precision. Uses, okay, sorry, we jump back to band 8. Band 8, I didn't read that part through. It said the third bullet says skillfully uses uncommon lexical items, but there may be occasional inaccuracies in word choice and collocation. Now you have collocation. You have a word called collocation. And once going through what I have here, you have collocation as one of the things that will help you to score a very high mark in your IELTS. So I am not typically, and then we go to what's it called now? Grammatical range and accuracy. We are going to be talking about sentences of varying length, range of structures, wide range of structures, variety of complex structures, uses a mix of simple and complex sentence forms. We're going to talk about all of these things. And these are some of the things that help you to write good essays. Okay, that they help you to write good essays in your IELTS. So I'm not. Hello. So I'm not talking about just teaching you typical IELTS or typical English language. I'm talking about teaching you what is needed to understand your IELTS. Now, Mr. Tunde, I just saw your chat now. Can you hear me very well now, Mr. Tunde?
I can hear very well now.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'll put your speaker on mute so that we don't get feedbacks from you. So now, Mr. Ezekiel, I still see your hand up.
Oh, sorry for that. That was the last one. No.
Okay. So let's
following
okay. Now, so question device, very, very important. So we now go for relative clauses. Now, relative clauses are clauses headed by words like who, whose, whom, where, when, that, and the compounds of these words like whatever and so on. So now, relative clauses are clauses headed by words like who, whose, whom, where, when, that, and the compounds of these words like whatever, whenever, wherever, and the rest of them like that. So these are quasi devices. These are relative clauses. Now, these relative clauses, these words, once they start a sentence, we are not talking about them when they start a sentence and then they have become relative clauses. No. Relative clauses is simply when they are found in between sentences. Once they are found in between sentences, they become relative clauses. So, for example, let's say we have an example like this. Okay, e.g., we have sentences like Mr. Ajala do not like working with people who procrastinate a lot. So now you have Mr. Ajala does not like working with people who procrastinate a lot. Now, does not like working with people. Now, the word people, okay, the expression people who procrastinate a lot is your relative clause. The relative clause starts from Mr. Tunde, please, could you please mute your microphone, please? You're getting very massive feedbacks from your end. I think maybe that's Mrs. Kolashadu.
Put down slippers, Joe.
Trying to official. Okay. We are getting feedback from your end. I think it's you're disturbing the class with feedback from your end. So mute your microphone so that we can get those feedbacks. All right. So let's move on. Let's move on. So that's expression who procrastinate a lot. Okay. is your relative clause. Who procrastinates a lot is your relative clause. Now, I said yesterday in the orientation, we might have to break at different points because we are using free, what's it called now? Zoom. So every 40 minutes, they break us up. So maybe in the next 3 minutes, once I'm done with relative clause, I'll break us up. Then I'll ask us to rejoin again using the link. So please bear with us. All right. So that is that about that Mr. Jalal does not like working with people who procrastinate a lot. So who, when you have any of these words located in the middle of the sentence, that is when it typically goes for a relative clause. If you have it at the beginning, it is not a relative clause. So that is relative clause for you. And you must use that a lot. Who, you can see who is related back to people. Whenever you have whose, it's most likely relating back to the very next word before it. Whom is relating back to, for example, we could say, I like, another example is that if we say, I like going to places where I can listen to motivational speeches. So, to places where becomes your relative clause. So, Jeffrey, can we get your question before we switch over to the next 40 minutes? Hello, Kefi, are you there? I can see your hands raised.
Yeah, at a point I couldn't hear you again. I wanted to just confirm the last statement you made about the end of the sentence.
Okay.
Then I stopped hearing you completely.
So now, what was the last thing you heard me say?
You said no, I heard this last sentence you made, but before that time, you said that it comes at the end. That's what makes it a relative clause. So
okay, it wasn't, I didn't say it comes at the end, it comes at the middle.
Okay.
In the middle, yes. Like midway, it could be, it's not exactly in the middle, but it's not located at the beginning, it's not located at the end. You can see if you can see the two examples I have there, Mr. Dela does not like working with people who, from who to the end of that place, that is where you have relative clause. For us also, I like going to places where, from where down to speeches are what we can consider as relative clause. So the usage of relative clauses also helps you to have a very high, what's it called now, score in your writing and speaking, and then you should be able to note them or find them out or identify them in your listening and your reading. It helps a lot. So sorry, permit me to stop here. We need to rejoin from that same link and we'll continue from there, please. I hope you will understand.